Working on a Cadillac today. If I can find one of these buttons, see how many miles on it. Definitely the oil change. So we got 116,000 miles on it. I think this one has a North Star in here. I really don't work on Cadillacs as much, but we'll figure it out when we look up under the hood. I'm gonna get logged in on the Alltel MS906BT. So, I understand. While it's getting loaded up, the car has, so it's okay, it's a 2008 Cadillac passenger car, so it's got a 4.6 V8, so it's a DTS. So it has check-engine light. He was saying something about a evap. I'm just here to diagnose the thing, and then I guess whatever the price is, we're gonna get that taken care of. He has, the guy's changed the gas cap. He said, well, I put a new one on it, but if it doesn't work, I'm just going to put it on my wife's car. I'm thinking like, damn, are your gas caps universal? He did the same thing with a windshield wiper, which was pretty comical. Hey. Wife's car's fixed. Actually, his wife's car was the last car, the scam, the whole $300 thing. Yeah, this is, yeah, the husband's car. So keep it in the family. So I guess they trust me so much that, you know, I'm gonna fix this one. Let's see what we got coming in here. Come on. So we're gonna go to current history, diagnostic trouble code. So we got the evap p0411. It's a secondary air injection system incorrect airflow detected. And then at the very bottom, p0455, which is an evap system large leak detected. So I'm going to look at these two, the p0496 and p0455. Ignore the p0411. That seemed to just had like a glitchy moment. Not sure, maybe somebody was messing with the airbox, something, I don't know. Like I said, we'll see when we get up under here. But I can command it, the air system on, and see if the system operates. But that's irrelevant now because last test it passed, this ignition cycle it passed. I'm not gonna worry about this. So first off, what I'm gonna do, since we have an evap purge system, the car is telling us, hey, the purge valve is not working. Let's check the purge valve. So I'm gonna go exit back out of here. Simply let the tester, the scanner, do all the work for me. Let's see, I go on the right one, active test. So we go right here to purge and seal. Now, what are we looking for inside of the purge and seal? This is just letting me know about the duty cycle and how to close the valves. All right. We're just looking for variance in pressure. So when I press this increase button here, this is going to, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Let me go back. I didn't want to press anything until we saw that. Alright, so when I press the increase button, this is basically going to seal off the vent valve and then command the purge valve with the pulse width modulated signal. So currently we have a pulse width modulated signal with the purge solenoid at 18%. Alright, now I can command that state and it should override that. And down here, find fuel tank pressure sensor. We got the voltage and we have fuel tank pressure, which is millimeters of mercury. So that should be, that's the vacuum state. This number should rise in negative. The pressure voltage should also rise, if I recall. So let's find that out. So I heard the vent valve seal. We have rising voltage from the fuel tank pressure sensor, which indicates is capable of functioning. We have a 10% duty cycle to the purge valve, which is under the hood. And again, the vent valve is sealed. So I'm just going to let this go up close to 5 volts. It should command itself off at some certain threshold before it get to 5 volts. I guess to prevent some damage to the system. But let's just do it anyway, see what happens. So it should max out at 5 volts if I recall, and it should automatically abort test. Yep, it just did. So, alright, let's actually go through a seal test. We're going to start this over. So I'm going to, so the vent valve closed and it went back to a 30% duty cycle. I'm going to let it go about 3.5 or whatever, and I'm going to seal the system. I think that's fine once we get to 3. And what I'm looking for is basically for this, the pressure sensor, the vacuum, to hold. Now, this is supposed to be sealed off. The vent valve is sealed, but for some strange reason it's still producing vacuum. Look at it, the voltage is still going up. Fuel tank pressure is still going up as far as increasing vacuum. Now that aborted test because it breached a certain threshold. So what this means is that check engine light seems to be correct. Seems to be. So if we have operation of the vent valve, I heard it close, we're pulling vacuum, and the vent valve sits in the back by the gas tank and the charcoal canister, or it's remote, then theoretically our issue lies with that vent valve. Now, one thing I can do is go to the solenoid for the solenoid vent valve. Here you go. Vent solenoid. Command that close and see if the evap purge valve continue to vent. Naturally, in its static state, is supposed to be off and closed off. The purge valve under the hood is, in most cases it is. So even though it's got a duty cycle right now, I'm going to look at the pressure, command that vent valve on, and monitor my vacuum. See what's going on with that. Okay, so I guess off made it close up, and it's still producing the vacuum under 15% duty cycle, and it's rising pretty rapidly here also. And a 15% duty cycle shouldn't produce that much. It shouldn't raise that much. Now what I'm gonna do also, because I really can't, it's not gonna do me any justice controlling the purge valve inside the car here, but let me just because it's not going to do anything because I'm not sealing anything off, so it's kind of pointless. So we're going to cut the car off, go outside, pop the hood, find this purge valve, and test it, and this should take care of our problem. All right, I found the purge valve. I'm going to take this brake booster line off just so we can get a little space. I think we can see that, right? I think we're fine. All right, so let me just yeah, sorry. So here's our purge valve here. Now, even though it's directly connected to the throttle body here, I'll have to simply remove this and bench test it. So I don't think it's I can't imagine being stuck on, but we don't know anything because we could be lied to. Now, being that this is a very, very simple circuit, it's pulse width modulated, sends a signal, either ground side switch or high side. I think it might be ground side. So if I cut the switches on, keys off, I'm going to command it here with my scan tool to send a pulse width modulated signal to a test light. And I think what I'll do is probably like a simple bulb that should work. If it doesn't, I'll just try a test light, but I think just bridging these two wires here and sending a signal there will cause that bulb to pulse width or flash very rapidly. So let me go grab a bulb. Alright, here we go. I'm just gonna take this little fucker. I think everything's, yeah, I think this is right. This is a single phase. I don't think it's dual. Alright. I might have to just hold it there. So I'm going to my scan tool. I'm pushing the purge valve solenoid, going to that screen to do an active test, and I'm simply going to increase to a 20% duty cycle. So let's see what this bulb do. You can see that. I might be able to, okay, here we go, we can get the whole. So hopefully the camera's picking it up. I'm gonna decrease to a 10%. It is changing. I'm gonna go up to 50%. I think probably around 70%. It might look like it's staying completely on. I'm at 40, 50, 60, 70. No, it's actually okay. 80, 90. Okay. All right. So 100. So what 100% look like? Oh, okay. That's still on 100%. Even 90's flashing. That's neat. All right. So my memory on my phone is like crap. So this purge valve needs to be replaced. Good news is I do have a used one here. I'm not going to use this as a primary fix because I am going to get a brand new one. When I put motors in Chevys or any vehicles, I'll just have a parts bin for various sensors, just in case of times like this. You know, I can just do a quick test before I buy it. Not saying that the parts that I have may work, but if I get a good used motor, like I said, I'll pull those sensors, and all the motors I put on, for the most part, are very, 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 very low mileage. So how do I get this joker off? There we go, lift up, pull. All right, and it should just be one bolt. It's an 8mm, what feels like. I think I'm wrong. All right, let's pull this out. Man, I tell you, I don't know. I lose this 10mm all the time. I mean, this thing was wanted dead or alive for the longest. Simply use a 10mm. Hit it with that right there and get that out. Simply extract it like so. It would kind of be pointless to like test anything when I could simply just replace it. I don't want to put this used one on here when I can just go buy a new one. Fucking with y'all. Hey, let's take what do they call that thing? My smoke tester. Blow through it, and I guess we can compare it with the old one before I put a new one in it, so we can get a visual of how things operate in its normal unactivated state. All right. Ooh, gosh, we got smoke. Ooh, man, this stuff is everywhere. So here's I put a mark on the bad one so we can identify it. And here, this is the air should not flow through this because there's no power energizing it. So we should not see anything come off from the other end here. So we see the smoke. Can we see it? All right. Look at the end here. We have smoke. See if I don't know if that picked up very well on camera. Maybe I can get the light. Let me turn the light on. We can see a little bit of smoke coming from there. I don't think nothing want to cooperate now. Let me just flip it the other way. So yeah, there we go. If I move my hand out of the way. So there's the smoke coming from there. Not good. So this is bad. Here's the used one, and there's nothing. No smoke. Nothing's coming from this. So I mean, there's a couple ways I could have tested this. I could have put like air pressure, put a pressure gauge on the other end, but it's not that serious. This joker, well, this one is bad. So O'Reilly's got one in stock for a little over $50. I'm gonna go pick that up and install that and do a quick test and be good to go. All right, got me a new part. This is a high quality O'Reilly's product, the Standard Motor products. And here's the part number, CP0470. Alright, let's get this installed and do a bay test. See what happens. Nothing special. Looks real similar. Let me see if I can find the... I just had it in my hand there. See, I put stuff down and literally forget where I put it. So here's a comparison with the old one, with the new one. There's some vague differences. The new one's a lot more square than the original equipment, but for the most part, it can have the same pattern made into the surface area. So it's still flush, still work out. So that was one of the obvious differences. One of the end of the valves here has glue on it, and I'm pretty sure that's to... I don't know if that's for assembly or if that's, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's to, of course, keep it from leaking. All right, let's get it installed. Enough looking. I get this part about 3 months. Let's do a service test once we get this in there, because I know I probably would have forgot this brake booster. Alright. So we're back in the car. I'm just going to go back to my evap purge seal test. So before, what was happening, it had a duty cycle and it was pulling an enormous amount of vacuum in comparison to what we got now. So this is a 9% duty cycle that it has, and it's at 0.30 millimeters of mercury here. So let's go ahead and pull vacuum. The vent valve has closed. We see it going to a deeper vacuum state. Now, when I seal the system, it's not going to be 100% perfect. It's not going to stay stagnant at 3 volts. But we do want to see this number slowly creep down, which is what it's doing now, which I'm totally fine with. So if I was to cut the car off and cut the fuel pump off, it's probably going to abort the test here. But this is pretty good here. So as far as how slow it's dwindling, so I'm not disappointed with it. And of course, the ultimate test is let the car go through its testing phase and see how it responds to it. But being that the problem was obvious once we tested it, it's nothing major. But this is a lot better. All right, I'm gonna clear these codes, give it back to them, and of course, if anything changed, I'll let you know. But I'm pretty sure we're good to go. Codes have been erased successfully, and I think that's it. I think we're good, man. So if anything happened, I'll definitely update. But be sure to hit that link, man. Subscribe to the channel. Stay informed. Have it reassurance my work. See you on the next one.